Hi everyone, good morning, Welcome to our Ask Me Any Stock SG session today, this Friday. Seeing some of you guys already in the chat. Hi, welcome. Good morning, Rick. Hi, ABC. Hi, Joey. Hi, Bervyn. Hi, Zee. Oh, sorry, Joey will not be joining us today just yet lah. So I think maybe he'll be back next Friday. So we'll see. So good morning, Vincent. Hi, good morning, Jason. Hi, good morning, April. Hi, good morning, Madam Tan. Hi, Karen. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hi, Ajit. Good morning. Hi, Gurmeet. Good morning. Welcome back. Nice to see you here again every Friday. Hi, Roland. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, so I'm guessing if all of you guys are saying good morning means we are able to see you. Hi, good morning, ABC. Welcome back to our weekly AMAS Singapore session. All right, so as I've said,
for being early today as well.
yes. So we have myself and Z here only today. All right, so because Joey is attending some prize presentation ceremony. All right, so he won't be joining us today. So he'll be back next week, hopefully. All right, okay, so before we start this morning's session, all right, so we will dive into a quick market outlook before diving into the stocks that you guys request in the chat. All right, then towards the end, me and Z will each review a bonus Singapore stock that we like. All right, okay, so just a little bit of an introduction. If you guys do not know us, or you're just scrolling on YouTube, scrolling on Facebook, coming across Joey's channel, just a little bit of introduction. Joey is a top trader remiser in Phillip Securities. He has been in this industry for more than 15 years already. So we have been working with Joey for over 5 years now already. So for myself, I am Bervyn. If you haven't met yet, right? So my background is actually a little bit in fundamental analysis. I am a chartered financial analyst. Although we also have a Z with us here who is a chartered market technician. All right, so we are both quite well versed in both fundamental and technical analysis, but during this session, let's not dive too much into that. We'll just focus a little bit more on Joey's 1GT Pro indicator to just get a quick opinion for you guys on your stocks that you guys have requested. All right, so just pass the time to Z now to actually do the little bit of an introduction about herself before I carry on. I think Z, you are muted.
Oh, sorry. Yep. Hi everyone. My name is Z. If you guys have not met me yet, yeah, like what Bervyn have described, right? Both of us have been with Joey for over 5 years now, right? And for myself is I am a chartered market technician holder since 2024 lah. So basically, what does that mean is just that I'm a big fan of charts and trends, right? I look at charts and trends, and the thing is that when looking at chart and trend, one thing that I realize is that a lot of people tend to overcomplicate things, right? Whereby you add so many things on the chart, and then it gets very confusing because you got this indicator saying this, you got another indicator saying that, right? So Joey's 1GT, one good trend, the pro indicator, right? It's simple, right? It helps to break things down very simply, and with just a click of a button, you can actually see very quickly, whether is there a bullish signal or bearish signal, and it gives you, some sort of easy way to give you an opinion of the stock very quickly, lah, right? And you can actually take action without, overcomplicating things, right? So yeah, with that, right, later on within, I think 1.5 hours to 2 hours, we will try our best, right? Me and Bervyn, we will try our best to cover as many stocks as you guys requested in the chat. But as usual, sometimes we get more than like 50-60 stocks in one session, so we'll try our best, we'll try our best to cover as many as possible, and we'll try to pick those more popular ones as well, so that we can add more value to you guys, and you can actually see from them, right, how powerful 1GT Pro indicator is lah. All right, so without further ado, I'll pass the time back over to Bervyn to actually kickstart today's session.
All right, thanks Z. Okay, so before we begin, yeah, I saw some of you guys have already requested some of the stocks in the chat down there, but just do us a little bit of a favor. Just help us to give us a little bit of a context. All right, so maybe you're thinking about looking at the banks, or you're actually holding the banks or anything like that. Give us a bit of context, like if you have bought, have looking to buy, what price you have bought. So actually we can give you a little bit more insight. All right, help us to help you. All right, okay. And also help us to hit the like and the share button on this YouTube channel so we can actually reach out to more people as well. All right, so next up, just a little bit of a disclaimer. all right, for everyone right here. So this session is purely for educational purposes. All right, we are not here to tell you to buy, to sell, not to buy, not to sell, when to buy, when to sell. All right, just do your own due diligence as well. This is just all our own opinion. Okay, so let's dive right into it. So okay, so guys, just help me out here. So I've been just thinking whether I should cover the S&P 500 as well, or just cover the STI. So if you want the S&P 500 market overview as well, because I think there's a little bit of market weakness present there, you can just type M in the chat, so I will know that if I should cover the S&P 500. If not, after the STI, we will just dive right into the stocks that you guys requested, the Singapore stocks. All right, so just let me change my screen here. All right, okay, so on the screen right now, okay, I think it's a little bit small. Just let me change my screen a little bit right there. The screen.
I think a lot of people are typing in the chat, like Rajan, S&P 500 too. There's a lot of M as well. So I think Bervyn, maybe after STI, maybe can cover the S&P too.
Sure. Okay, so let's begin. All right. Hey, hi, Andy. Good morning. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so here we have the STI, the Straits Times Index. The Straits Times Index. I think since last week, all right, since last week, we actually achieved a new high again. Coming very, very close to that 4,600 resistance. 4,600 resistance. I think many of those analysts this year have been targeting the 4,600 level. So I think, well, more or less, we have pretty much achieved that high last week, but we actually saw a little bit of a market weakness coming in the last week or so. Sellers coming back in, pushing prices or pushing the index down lower to that temporary support. The temporary support of 4,400, right? 4,400 to 4,500. That is where we currently place the temporary support. So I think the uptrend, I mean, since the start of the year, that sell down, that recovery has been playing out actually really well, and the market actually rallied to new highs, multiple new highs, finding new supports along the way as well, that higher lows actually forming for the STI. All right, so if we were to just look at the 20 days moving average, the shorter term moving average, what is it looking like? It is still currently pointing up. All right, so I think this morning a lot of people are very, very worried. We receive a lot of messages saying, hey, the market going to tank right now. So with just this 1GT Pro indicator, all right, just this 1GT bullish signal right here, still green. All right, still green. We still see that bullish signal playing out so far. We do not see a bearish signal just yet. All right, so weakness is definitely present. As you can see, market gap down a little bit. You find a little bit of a gap. Market closed at about 4,500 yesterday. Open ended at 4,500 level this morning. But that 20 days moving average is still currently pointing up. We don't have a 1GT bearish signal as well. As long as we are able to firmly hold above this temporary support, 4,400 to 4,500, I think that is not too bad. All right, 4,400 level is a level to actually currently watch out for. But could we see that upside, that rebound happening? I think it's still too early to say. Market is a bit jitterish, but let's just draw that upside to 4,600 for the market first, for the STI first. All right, and if that level is broken, we could see the next upside towards that 4,700, 4,700. But will it reach that level this year? I don't know. It's quite hard to say. A little bit of volatility coming in is good as well, giving us a little bit of opportunity, a window of opportunity to get in for those good stocks that we actually have on our watch list as well. So I think not too bad for the STI. We still currently seeing a little bit of a strength as long as it can continue to play out. But let me just turn on very quickly this trailing support and resistance. So if you are actually, you have the access to the 1GT Pro indicator as well, you can turn on the trailing support and resistance. So what does this trailing support and resistance do? As you can see, it follows the stock prices dynamically. So it's like a dynamic support, giving the stock or the index a little bit of space to breathe as it moves up. So as long as it holds above that trailing support, I guess it's fine, it's still okay. But once it breaks below, you could start to see a little bit of a consolidation or a little bit of weakness coming in. So since sometime in October, we have that 1GT bearish signal. Right? Prices consolidated under that 4,470 level as well for a month or so before breaking higher. So that doesn't mean if you see a 1GT bearish signal, wow, price is going to crash 20%, the index going to crash 20%. No, it's just a sign of weakness, a sign of sellers coming in. So that's how we get a quick opinion as well. All right, so that is for the STI. All right, so now let's move on. Since you guys requested for the S&P 500, I'm not too sure how many of you are trading the US market, but of last night, we actually see a little bit of fears coming in. All right, a little bit of fears coming in. So this is the S&P 500. The S&P 500, we are actually seeing, all right, two straight up, two 1GT bearish signals, two 1GT bearish. Let me just change that panel right here. SPX 500, okay, S&P 500 right there. Two 1GT bearish signal actually coming in. But what I would like to actually just turn off that bullish and bearish signals for a little bit. All right, so we actually have that 20 days moving average pointing down already, right? It's pointing down. It's not flat, it's actually pointing down already, and prices have actually tried yesterday market open, it tried to hold above the 6,750 support level. All right, but it wasn't able to, briefly holding above, and prices slipped down lower than that support. So right now I will change this to a resistance. All right, a resistance right now, and prices are heading very close to that 6,500. This is where that 100 days moving average is currently at as well. All right, so although that 100 days and 200 days moving average are still pointing up, right? The longer term uptrend, the recovery since April is still playing out, but we see a little bit of weakness, very similar to what we had at the start of October as well. All right, so this could be a start of a consolidation phase. All right, the start of a consolidation phase. If we turn on that trailing support and resistance, right here, we can see that the trailing resistance is currently present right around the 6,900 level for the S&P 500. So you can expect a little bit of consolidation, but if the 6,500 level is not able to hold, prices not able, or index not able to rebound from 6,500 heading back to 6,700, you could see weakness actually playing out towards that 6,100 level. That's wiping out a lot of those gains. Wiping out a lot of those gains, essentially putting us back to where we were in June as well. So, I mean, we have to be a little bit cautious, but let's just say we are cautiously optimistic. All right, cautiously optimistic to actually see if prices are able to break or rebound from 6,500, head back above that 6,700, and eventually testing that 6,900 level once again. All right, so a little bit of background news as well. I think the rate cuts scheduled for December may not play out. Now the odds of a rate cut would be under 50% already. That's what the market is currently thinking. All right, so if there is indeed no rate cuts, or the odds of a rate cut further drops or lowers again, then I think the market weakness could potentially continue. And this is on the backs of a very strong jobs report, the overvaluation of AI, the speculation of a bubble forming as well. Right, so I think the S&P 500 is still something to look at, right? Just to get a gauge of how the general market is actually looking. All right, okay, so that is the S&P 500. Right now, I think I will just start off with the first stock. All right, the first stock that you guys requested right here. Give me a bit of time. I wasn't looking at the chat. Let's just see who. Okay, let's just go for the first one. Hi, Madam Tan. Okay, last week I bought SIA Engineering at $3.70. Now keep on downside, also volume low. Looks like traders not as interested in this stock. Please advise on direction. All right, thanks for the context. Okay, let's just switch over to the SIA Engineering. All right, the stock code is S59. If you guys are following, here we go. What do we see here? All right, guys, what do we see here? Maybe in the chat, in the chat, just let me catch a breather. What does the 20 days moving average look like? All right, the 20 days moving average, the green line in the chat, is it pointing up, pointing down, or is it currently flat? Maybe let's help out Madam Tan this morning. Is it up, down, or pointing flat, or it's just flattening up? All right, Lilian says it's a little bit flat. RL says that it is up. All right, Manford says it's down. Wow, all three directions also we have this morning. Okay, so let's see a little bit. I would say Tina says it's flat. I think it's currently flattening out. I would take the stance that it's currently flattening out as well. Not just pointing down just yet. All right, it's still showing that, you know, momentum is present, just that it's, you know, tapering out. Why is tapering out? Why? Why is that so? Because we see a little bit of resistance. All right, we see sellers actually coming in close to that 380 level. All right, close to that 380 level. I think Madam bought at 370, right? You bought at 370. All right, just slightly under that 380 temporary resistance level coming in right there. And we are currently holding above a temporary support of 360. All right, will it break 360 later? I don't know. We are still early in the early in the day, where we are currently very close to a temporary support. Prices were testing this resistance, was a resistance in October before finally breaking above in November. So this is a temporary support that we are actually looking at. So I think this is a level that maybe most buyers are actually keen to accumulate as well. But as of this morning, it looks like sellers were pretty much in control. Pretty much in control. It's been falling since the time it opened at 365. As of right now, quite live, we are at about 361. All right, 361 right now. So if we are looking to sell, or what are we looking for? All right, currently we still have 1, 2, 3 1 GT bullish signals coming out. The earliest coming out in September, the latest coming out in November 6th, on the November 6th. All right, so if we are able to see prices rebound from 360 towards 380, all right, Madam Tan, I think that is where, you know, you have will be definitely sitting on a little bit of profits, correct? But if prices were to break and hold above 380, I think we can draw that upside towards the psychological $4 level first. But what is your plan now? What is your plan? Is your plan to continue buying, or your plan would be to cut loss? All right, so I would say you want to start to be a little bit more cautious, especially like what Manford said as well. If that 20 days moving average starts to point down, weakness coming in, and you see prices breaking below that trailing support of currently about 347, you want to be a bit more cautious. Maybe you want to consider to reduce a little bit of that exposure first, because by then I think you will definitely see weakness present in the market, and the support level would have already been broken, and your downside could be further extended to about $3.30. That is when, you know, you wanted to place a short trade, but in the end you will become a longer term investor. So you have to follow your plan. If your plan is to stop losses below a trailing support, where there will be a 1 GT bearish signal showing up right there, that's not when you actually want to continue holding on to a stock. However, if you are able to see a rebound, if you see a rebound from that trailing support as well, that is a good sign. That's a sign that buyers are actually keen. Now buyers are still present in SIA Engineering. They're still keen to accumulate on the dips. But if you ask me, I think as long as 360 is able to hold, I think this position, or this trades could still pan out upwards to about $4 as well. So if prices were to break 380, you definitely want to start shifting your stop limit orders up, right? Start shifting your stop limits order up. So even if prices once again sees a little bit of sellers coming in, you're not really affected. You're still getting out with a little bit of those profits as well. All right. Okay, so I think that is a very quick one for SIA Engineering. I'll now pass the time to Z to actually cover the next requested stock. Z?
All right, thanks, Bervyn. Okay, so the next one that I have over here, let me see. It will be by Lillian. Right, Lillian, I hope you're still here. You're asking about Propnex, right? Hi, you can cover Propnex bought at 220 whole. So I'm thinking what you're saying that you bought Propnex at $2.20 and you're asking whether you should hold lah, right? Okay, so let's take a look at Propnex now, all right? So for Propnex, right, we can see that first thing we always look at, what do we always look at? We always go to the basics, right? Look at the trend, which is the moving average. So when we look at the moving average, right, we got to look at two things, short-term trend and long-term trend, right? So longer-term trend based on the 100 days and the 200 days moving average, right over here, the red and the blue line, they are both pointing up, right? But when we look at the shorter-term trend, I mean, if you ask about a couple months back, right, somewhere in July, of course, it's going up, up, up. But then somewhere in September, it started to flatten out, right? And October, that was when, this 20 days moving average started to slope downwards, right? And right now, is it sloping downwards? Yes, it's sloping downwards. If I were to zoom in, we don't need to doubt ourselves, it's sloping downwards, right? 20 days moving average. So short-term trend, definitely, we are seeing some weakness, right? We are seeing some weakness. Plus, the fact is that right now I already turned on this thing. Oops, sorry. I already turned on the buy and sell signal right over here, right? With just a click of a button, we can actually see this buy or sell signals, right? And give you a very quick opinion on the stock as well, right? So with this, what do we see? We see not one, but two, right? Two consecutive 1GT bearish signal coming out right over here. Right, and what does bearish signal means? Like bearish signal, it doesn't mean that the stock will crash, right? But it is telling you that there is more selling pressure returning back to this stock, and it's not just one. There's two consecutive ones, right? So it just shows that it coincides with what we are seeing in terms of the price action, the candlestick, plus the trend that we have just talked about, right? The 20 days moving average has really started to slope down. So all of this already shows you that this stock has a bit of weakness already, right? But for Lillian, you mentioned that you bought at $2.20, right? $2.20. I would say $2.20 right over here. I've drawn it as what we call previously a support, right? So you see from September, when it actually, even in August, end of August, when it broke above this $2.20, this $2.20 turned to what we call like a support level, right? It tested this $2.20 somewhere in September again, somewhere in end of September, one more time, right? And right over here in end of October, early November, right? And recently, what we are seeing over here is that prices is testing this $2.20, but it seems like it has kind of like broken below it, right? Over the past couple of days, right? Yesterday it went up, but you see today, price opened at $2.20, and right now it is trading about 216. I don't know whether at the end of the day, whether price will go back up to 220. That one, I wouldn't know. If you were to ask me, I'm not sure. Right, I'm not sure. But what we can tell from the price action is that $2.20 definitely is one of the critical level that we want to watch for, because this level has been tested many times, right? And the more times a level is being tested, the more weight we want to give to it, right? So for Lillian, I don't know whether, you bought your Propnex. I don't know whether is it you bought it here, or you bought it here, or you bought it here. Because if you bought it at these 3 points, there's a difference, comparing to when you actually buy it here. Why would I say that? Because when you actually bought it here, somewhere in August to October, right, it definitely it did touch like the $2.20, right over here, right, these two periods. And when prices actually went up to 250, that's where potentially there is some opportunities for you to take some profits already, right? Because prices actually tested this 250, right? I would say this 250 level at least a couple of times, right? And it even actually broke above this 250, but unable to hold above it, right? So I would say actually near the 250 level, if you have taken some profits, great, right? But I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure whether you have taken some profits or you have even bought here. But the thing is that what I want to convey, right? The message is that if you have actually bought it here, right, somewhere maybe a few days ago, right, by right, we shouldn't want to buy that. Why? Because number one, short-term trend is down, right? Green line is pointing down. Number two, we got two consecutive 1GT bearish signal. And the thing is that prior to this sideways consolidation phase, if you guys can focus from August all the way to November, right, recently, you can see that price, right, from this period at the start of August all the way when it surged all the way up to $2.20, right? This was for, let's see, maybe about a 2 to 3 weeks period, price actually surged about 50%, right? More than 50%. And during this period when price surge, right, we cannot really find a area whereby buyers are returning, right? So if prices, right, now over the next couple of days or weeks, it continues to break down, we need to monitor and see where is the support level that buyers are willing to come back and step in again. Because if not, what we could also potentially see is weakness back towards the $1.40. Because as you can see, yourself over here, right, prices went all the way up to about $2 over more than $2 in just a span of like 3 weeks, right? It's very fast, right? But there's a saying that, it's up the stairs and it's down the cliff, right? So coming down is also can be very, very fast. So on your end, Lillian, maybe what you can do is to monitor, right, to set some price alert, right? Maybe at even that the $2, because $2 why is a psychological level, right? I'm not too sure whether $2 will there be any, buyers returning at this level, but I would think that $2 is a psychological level that perhaps you might want to take note of and set some price alert now. Because if price is continue going down and unable to hold above the $2, I'm pretty sure that we probably will see another 1GT bearish signal, and that would mean that it's 3 consecutive 1GT bearish signal and potentially even more weakness back to the counter, right? And perhaps by then the 100 days moving average will also start to see signs of it flattening out and even start to point down, right? So for Lillian, right, I'm not too sure what is your trading plan as well, but you need to have a plan to manage your downside, especially so when right now we are seeing that this particular stock, we are seeing some weakness returning, right? And I'm not too sure whether price will actually rebound back from the $2 or maybe today will even close back above the 220. Yeah, that one I'm not too sure, right? But the key thing is to manage your downside, right? To prevent it from to prevent yourself from sitting on unrealized losses, not knowing what to do if price were to continue to head downwards. Okay, Lillian, I hope that helps give you something to think about as well, right, in terms of Propnex. Okay, so back over to you, Bervyn, to cover the next stock.
All right, thanks Z. Well, nice. Up the stairs, down the cliff. Actually, first time hearing that, but interesting saying. Okay, let's go on to the next stock. I think it's now I spotted something that I wanted to cover. Let's see. Where was it? I saw someone was asking about Yangzijiang Financial.
Is it this
Go,
one?
yeah, Rajan. Yeah, okay, yes, thanks. All right, okay, so let me just switch up the screen right there. All right, okay, here we have Yangzijiang Financial. All right, Rajan bought Yangzijiang Financial at 1.151. Is it a sell now? All right, so for those of you who have been holding Yangzijiang Financial over the last 2 weeks, you would have been aware that Yangzijiang Financial have done a spin-off, have completed their spin-off of Yangzijiang Maritime. All right, so right now you actually see that the prices of Yangzijiang Financial have been adjusted. All right, have been adjusted. So Rajan, you can check your trading account. You can check your CDP if you are actually currently holding on to some Yangzijiang Maritime shares. Right, so I just checked Yangzijiang Maritime shares are trading at about 68.5, 69 cents this morning. All right, and the Yangzijiang Financial holding is trading about 49 cents. All right, so adding them together, there you arrive at about 1.17. All right, so your initial Yangzijiang Financial Holdings position is currently at that break-even price for you. Right, not making a much profit yet. All right, so but right now with Yangzijiang Financial, right, just looking at Yangzijiang Financial, we can see that that longer-term uptrend has been intact. It started to slope up more aggressively at the start of this year. We actually saw a 1GT bullish signal coming in right there on the 2nd of July up to the most recent 17th of October 1GT bearish signal coming in. That's a 40% upside already, right? Just purely based on signals. And right now, we can actually see that prices have rebounded. Good sign, good sign. Tried to rebound from that 46 cents support, and that 20 days moving average is currently pointing up or flattening out. It's no longer just pointing down since September. Because September it started to come down, found a little bit of support at 46 cents as well, and started to rebound. But currently, as of this morning, there's a little bit of sellers coming in. Market is overall weak. we are still currently trading above that 46 to 48 cents entry zone. All right. So I think currently many of those holders of Yangzijiang Financial are still currently holding on to their shares as prices are still above their 100 days moving average, still above that support zone as well. But I think currently you want to actually place a couple of alerts. Why? Is because you do not want to be caught in a situation where prices are continuing to weaken. All right, so now you have two shares to actually watch out for. Maybe you wanted to buy Yangzijiang Financial, hold on to a longer term, but now you got to look out for Yangzijiang Financial and Yangzijiang Maritime. All right, it's a little bit hard to do any technical analysis on Maritime right here, but it looks like just based off the numbers, it has opened above its issue price of 60 cents. It's currently trading above its issue price of 60 cents. So currently, if for Yangzijiang Maritime, I think many of those holders are looking at 70 cents as a key level first. 70 cents as a key level first. So if you are switching back to Yangzijiang Financial, a break above the 56 cents level, Rajan, if it breaks above 56 cents, that will bring your total position to above 120 already. All right, above 120, which means you are past that previous resistance. All right, so you want to set up some alerts above that 56 cents level, maybe just an alert about 57 cents, another alert at maybe 58 cents as well. But here's the thing, I think you want to actually also set up an alert for the 1 GT bullish or bearish signals. All right, you can just set up a buy or sell alert right here because currently we are still seeing a 1 GT bearish signal. 1 GT bearish signal still in play. And that trailing support currently, where is it at? That trailing support is currently around that 53 cents level. Around that 53 cents level. So you want to be alerted where if another 1 GT bullish signal could come in, which means prices could, or that Yangzijiang Financial could be potentially breaking out of this 46 cents to 56 cents range, breaking out of that 10-cent range and potentially heading higher. So let's just do a little bit of a projection here. Just like that, put it up. That next upside could be towards that 76 cents level. But first thing first, we have to break out of this consolidation pattern. So I think currently your position for Yangzijiang Financial is still currently okay. You may want to have some alerts below the 46 cents level just to get yourself alerted. You maybe want to reduce a little bit of exposure if it continues to weaken as well. But in the general sense, we are still trading sideways, not much action right there. Perhaps maybe over the next week as well, you can monitor your Yangzijiang Maritime to see if prices are able to break above that 70 cents level right there. All right, I think that is for Yangzijiang Financial and a little bit of Yangzijiang Maritime. I'll pass the time back to Z now to cover the next stock for you guys.
All right, thanks, Bervyn. Okay, so I think the next stock is one of the ones that is quite popular as well. It would be right over here by Eugene, right? Wanted to buy D05. So D05 is DBS and U11 is UOB stock. So when is a good time to buy? Okay, so maybe Eugene, I will just cover the DBS one first, all right? Okay, so for DBS right over here, right? What do you guys see? Do you guys think that maybe the trend is up or down? You guys can let me know in the chat, right? What do you guys think of the trend for DBS? Is it up or down? U for up, D for down. Let me know in the chat. What do you guys think about DBS trend? Let's see. Ivan says up, Tiffy up, Pretty Savage up, Grateful they up, Colin up, RLTK up. Okay, a lot of you guys are actually saying up. Everybody's saying up. At least I don't see a down lah. Okay, is in fact actually yes, this is actually up, right? And how do we know why everybody is saying up, right? Is because why? Number one, short-term trend pointing up. Longer term trend rate and the blue line also pointing up. All three of them are pointing up, right? So how do we tell about the trend? We always go back to the basic, which is moving average, right? The moving average is telling us that the trend for DBS is actually in fact intact. The uptrend is intact, right? And then now, the thing is that right now I already play cheat, I already turned on this signal for you guys to see, all right? And right now, this signals over here, what do we see? We also see that there is two consecutive 1GT bullish signal. Just now the one that I was talking about is bearish signal, but this is 2 consecutive 1GT bullish signal. So when we want to buy into a stock, of course, first thing that we want to look out for is the trend must be up, right? And secondly, this gives us additional confirmation that, it gives us additional confirmation and confidence to actually, take some action because we are seeing bullish signal, right? And the bullish signal means that there is more buying pressure returning to support the prices, and it's good, right? It's good. It gives us another layer of confirmation. Right, but now the question is, Eugene wants to buy, right? It's okay. It's okay to buy DBS, right? But the question is, where can we potentially position ourselves for entry? That's the question, right? Because we all know that now the uptrend is good. We got 2-1GT bullish signal, but where can we buy, right? So number one, of course, we got to look out for, support levels, right? And also resistance level, because those are the levels that we know that, where are buyers coming in and where are sellers coming in, that we can potentially position ourselves in terms of the buy zone and the sell zone. Okay, so number one, right over here, you can see that I think I've drawn a level, right, at this $50 psychological level, right? Why did I draw this $50 psychological level? It's because back in August, as you can see right over here, right, this was a period that, about 1 month or so, right, prices have been testing this level for 1 month as a resistance, right? It broke above it, unable to hold above, retest again, right? Retest this $50 again. So this $50 level, definitely, as you can see, the candlestick touched the $50 so many times, right? I would give it more weight to it. And plus the fact that it is also what we know as a psychological level, right? So, but of course, now price is above $50, right? So this $50 has turned from what we call a resistance to become a support, right? So that's one of the support that, I want you guys to actually take note of, all right? And resistance, how about resistance? The resistance that I've drawn over here will be about the $55, right over here, right? Because prices, back in October, right, it didn't really hit the 55 but we have a very bullish candlestick, right? And then subsequently selling pressure coming, didn't touch 55, but selling pressure already coming close to the 54 level, right? And the next one, it tested again somewhere in early of November, right? This time it is even closer to 55, but selling pressure returned, unable to break above it, right? And usually when price is near a resistance, usually we will always deem it as like a resistance zone, right? Because the thing is that we don't know when exactly selling pressure will come back, but we know that it is within this zone and it's usually near a resistance level, right? So I would say that around 54 to 55, this would be what we call a resistance zone, right? A resistance zone whereby some profit taking can happen, right? So for those of you guys over here, right, who actually holding on to DBS Bank, perhaps you can consider, if you would like, right, to actually take some profits as well near the resistance zone. No problem, nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. I would like to emphasize there's nothing wrong to take profits near the resistance zone. Don't have to be full, can be partial, one-third, just a little bit. It's also okay because it helps you to build up confidence as well, and also it makes you feel better that, hey, actually taken some profits, right? I actually realized the profits and put it in my pocket. Right, so this is for those of you who are holding on to a position, right? But for Eugene case, you're thinking about buying, right? So I assume that you don't have any positions for DBS yet, you're thinking about buying, right? And just now remember when we talk about the support level, $50 psychological support level, right? So when we think about buying, of course, we want to buy where? Near the support zone, right? So based on Joey's 1GT framework, we want to buy near a support zone, right? Definitely $50 would be one, right? Because this is the support level, $50 psychological level that we have established. But of course, now price is at 53. I don't know, price will go back all the way down to $50 for you to get, right? And the other thing that we can actually make use of is this thing called the trailing support function. So if I were to turn it on right over here, what can we see? We can see that price, is it above trailing support? Yes, right? And just to share with you guys a little bit more about the trailing support, right? As you guys can see over here, trailing support, this green color shaded area that I just turned on and turned off right over here, right? This trailing support actually trails the prices as it moves up, right? So I would say that this is more of what we call a dynamic support. And also this trailing support accounts for the stock volatility. Every stock has different volatility, right? So this will actually trails the price as it moves up, as you can see right over here, right? It follow the price as it goes up. And right now, price is actually above the trailing support, which is a good thing, right? That's what we want to see as well. Price above trailing support when we are thinking about buying, right? So when we say we want to buy, apart from this horizontal support that we can take note of, the other support we can also take note of would be the trailing support, right? Because this is also a valid support level, right? It's not saying that it's not a valid support level. It is, in fact, a dynamic support level as well. So I would say around this zone, around 52, maybe to about 53, this could be one of the zones that you can also potentially position ourselves for entry as well, right? And this is where you can set some alerts. If prices were to return, retrace back to this trailing support zone, right? This is where we can consider to actually accumulate some positions too. All right, because if we were to look back, right over here, you see somewhere near the trailing support, this would be a good place to actually add some position, right? Same thing likewise here as well, right? So trailing support is one of the areas that we can actually make use of in terms of this trailing support resistance function to perhaps position and time your entry better as well. All right. So by the way, for those of you who are new here or you are not too sure, like what is this whole indicator actually about, right? I think Joey has actually very kindly allowed you guys to actually test drive this indicator, right? I think Bervyn will help me to put the link in the chat. So basically, when you test drive this indicator, right, you can test drive it for free, right, for 14 days, and to see whether you actually like it or not, because you can actually see these buy and sell signals on your end as well. And with just a click of a button, I mean, of course, all the more advanced features like the trailing support, position sizing table, that will not be available in the light, right? But in the light trial, you can actually see the buy and sell signals, and it will give you a very quick opinion on the stock as well. All right. So for Eugene, I hope that gives you, two areas that potentially you can set some price alert. So you can see I already set my price alert over here around 52. That's one. $50. That's one. And then the resistance around the 55, near the 55 level. That's one as well. So these are some of the alerts that you can also set for yourself. All right. So that will be for DBS. Passing back to you, Bervyn, to cover the next stock.
All right. Okay. Thanks. Let's see. Okay, I will just want to stick to the banks for now because since Eugene asked for U11 UOB, Karen is also asking about UOB, and then I saw one more person was actually also asking about UOB. So I think let's talk about UOB for a little bit right here. All right. Okay. So on my screen right now we have UOB. All right. Definitely not looking as bullish as DBS is lah. All right, so I think this is one of those counters that you go, hey, is it on the discount? Is it on discount? Is it time to buy? Yeah, I think that is a very, very valid question. I think most recently Joey has also released a YouTube video on the three banks. So if you guys want, you guys can also watch that video, no problem. But here we go for UOB. One thing that really stands out for me is previously we have seen a lower high formation actually starting to form for UOB. All right, so not too good. Sellers are pretty much in control. Every time the prices try to push up a little bit higher, sellers come in. Push up a little bit higher, sellers come in. Push up a little bit higher, sellers come in. And prices have broken a support. Right, previously was just consolidating within this range, this general range of $34 to $36 level was just pretty much consolidating within that range for about a couple of months, about 4 months or so. And I think most recently, since the start of November, it had broken down. This was pretty much a key support right here. Just in that few months, it has tested this support level, this entry zone a couple of times. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Tested 4 times, and on the 5th time was not able to hold, and it just broke down. You can see from that 20 days moving average whipsawing a little bit, but most recently it is currently pointing down. Right? It's no longer pointing sideways, no longer pointing up, it's pointing down. And that 100 and 200 days moving average previously was just sloping up, moving a little bit sideways, now have started to slope down. Yes, although that 100 days moving average hasn't crossed below that 200 days moving average, but these are just signs. These are signs that the trend could be weakening, right? Could be weakening, and currently prices are trying to hold above that $33.50 support. Right, so if this support gives way, where could we potentially see the next downside towards? I would just do a simple projection right here, just from that $34.50 down to $33.50. And if that level is broken, we could see the next support around that $32.50, another dollar down, another 3% down from that $33.50 level. So not too good already, right? But let's turn on that buy or sell signals. Right? We have bearish signals. Right? We generally, when we see bearish signal, does it mean that the share price is going to tank? You're going to tank another 20%? No, but it shows that presently, there is selling pressure present. Do you want to have an entry when there's selling pressure pretty much still valid in the market? No, I think typically you do not want that. Right? You do not want that. So I think right now, we want to actually see if prices are able to have a consolidation phase. A lower consolidation is right there. Consolidation right around that 33.50 to 34.50. All right, so Karen, I think if you're looking to buy, let's wait for the trend to actually, show a little bit of a strength first. That 20 days moving average just flattening out. That means that $33.50 level is being defended and then eventually pointing out. I think it's okay to buy a little bit more expensive. I think it's okay to buy when prices once again break above 34.50. Then that will represent your upside towards $36, right? Rather than you try to buy at $33 when the prices when the trend still looks a bit weak, you try to buy close towards $33.50. All right, great. Your upside is to $34.50, about 2%. Just do a little bit of a comparison. Wouldn't this upside be a little bit more attractive with that little bit more conviction as well? So I think yes, it's fine. Maybe you got to buy a little bit lesser shares, but at least it gives you a little bit more conviction. We are not out here to try to bottom fish. Right? We're not here to bottom fish. We're trying to ascertain that the trend is back. That trend, the longer term uptrend is still present. Then we get in. We don't get in just because something is cheaper than what it was yesterday or last week. Right. So I think for those of you who are currently holding on to some UOB shares and looking to accumulate as well, I think you can take on that same approach. You want to set up some alerts above that 34.50 level, maybe 34.60, 34.65. I think that's a good level to actually have some alerts being placed as well. And at the same time, set up an alert for the 1GT bullish or bearish signal. All right, so if there's another bearish signal already, if you are currently holding, is it time to reduce a little bit of that exposure? All right, then when the prices stabilize, you can get back in, or you can just free up that capital and buy some other banks. Maybe you're looking into OCBC or DBS, like what Zee had mentioned. Maybe that would be a better option for a nearer term trade. Right. So I think that is for UOB. Trend looks like it's weakening. It is turning a little bit more bearish. Selling pressure is still present, but definitely still monitoring the counter. Hopefully we see a little bit more stabilization come in over the next few weeks. All right. Okay. So I think that's a quick one for UOB. I'll pass the time back to Zee now.
All right. Thanks, Bervyn. Okay. So the next one that I have over here very quickly will be by Pinky the Miffy, right? Good morning. Bought Goldmine at 0.944. Should sell or hold? Right. Okay. So over on my screen, right over here, you can see CNMC Goldmine, right? So you mentioned that you bought at 0.944, right? So 0.944, definitely you're still sitting on some profits right now, right? Because price is above your entry price. Right, because Miffy, I remember that a couple of times back, probably when you joined our session, you were also asking this stock. So I'm not too sure whether you did continue to average up on this stock, or was it like you just bought at 944, like you exit already and then you buy at 944 somewhere around at this area. I'm not too sure, right? But no worries, we just take as your entry price is around 944, right? 944. Okay, so for CNMC Goldmine, right? In terms of longer term trend, no issue lah. Red and the blue line is actually pointing up, right? But then now the short term trend definitely is weaker, right? I mean, this one is really pointing down lah, right? And we also got a 1GT bearish signal, right? And over here, I've already drawn one of the very crucial psychological support at this $1 level. I think this definitely maybe Miffy is one of the levels that perhaps you want to watch out for as well. Because if prices were to unable to hold, right, and break below this level, it is very closely approaching your entry price, right? And the thing is that we don't want it to become a case whereby you go back to square one and then you don't do anything about it, and then suddenly your winners, right, become your losers lah, and you become sitting on unrealized profit, right? So I think definitely for yourself, perhaps you might want to set some alerts near the $1 or even below the $1 to see whether it can actually hold above this $1 psychological level or not. I think that is one of the key things that perhaps for your case you might want to watch out for, right? But of course, if prices were to start stabilizing at this $1, right, and we start to see that the 20 days moving average actually starts to flatten out like so, right, it is good, right? It's good. And if it goes back up to, you know, the next level, which is this $1.20, right? This $1.20 would be what we call a resistance level, right? And this could be potentially where you can consider to actually take some profits as well, right? To take some profits and put the money in your pocket, right? Because the longer term trend still looks okay, and based on the short term trend, if it stabilizes and it heads back up, this is where you can consider to actually reduce some exposure, take some profits, all right? So for MIFI, right, because the thing is that, like I've mentioned, right, I don't know when you actually bought into this stock, right, or is it an average up situation, right? But I think one thing that I wanted to highlight to you as well is this thing called the trailing support function, right? Because if you have averaged it up, and you know, even if let's say you bought it here, right, at around 944, around this level, right, based on the trailing support, if we actually follows and trail the trailing support, here when you have gotten out, probably you would have already, you know, I mean, of course it's best if you can always get out at a high lah, but the thing is that nobody can always sell at the highest of the high, right? And the thing is that a lot of times what people want to do is they want to maximize the profit, see how the trend ride out, right? And the thing that you can do with this, right, is based on the trailing support function over here, right? So if you trail the prices as it continues to move up, right, and right over here you get a 1GT bearish signal and you exit, that is where you would have probably already gotten, you know, back in 20 over percent profits, right? But I mean, of course, right now, based on a 94, right? Let's see, about 99.44, right? I mean, of course, now, if let's say, you know, if prices were to break below the $1, right, and then you protect your profits, you are still sitting on profits, but you protect your profits, that is probably about a 5%, right? So the key thing here is the message that I want to bring across to you guys, right, is to make use, especially so, right, if you are already sitting on a healthy sum of profit, right, to make use of the 1GT trailing support and resistance function effectively, right, to help you to actually protect your profits. Because we don't want a situation whereby you are sitting on profits and suddenly your unrealized profits, right, you don't do anything about it, you wait, and then after that the unrealized profit become unrealized losses lah. That is what we want to avoid, right? So with the trading support, you can actually do that to help you to protect your profits, especially when you are sitting on profits, you continue to ride it, right, to shift your stop limit order up and shift. If it goes up some more, shift it up some more, and if you get out, you get out, right? You still protect your profits, okay? That's the key thing that we want. Even though, I mean, of course, some of you might say, hey, but I can sell at 140 leh, my profits is higher. But I mean, sure, if you sell at 140, great, right? That's good. But the thing is that sometimes not everybody will actually sell at 140, right? But we still want to have to protect our profits, like at the end of the day. All right. So Mifi, for this situation, I think for your case right now, I think maybe for you, you might want to make sure to monitor this $1 level, right? Because if it breaks below the $1 level, perhaps you might want to consider to actually just protect your profits first, lah. Because the thing is that when you get out already, it doesn't mean that you cannot buy back in. You can still buy back in. The opportunity will be there. The market will still be there. The stock will still be there. And it's just a matter of looking for the right opportunities with the right confirmations, right, near the support. We get another 1GT bullish signal. It's not too late to enter again, right? It doesn't mean that you sell, you cannot enter. Can still enter, right? But the key thing is we don't want our winners to become our losers. Okay, so that's something for you to think about, and some of the levels, right, that perhaps you might want to monitor, especially near the $1 psychological level and the resistance near the $1.20. Okay, so that would be for CNMC Goldmine. Back over to you, Bervyn, to cover the next stock.
All right, thanks, Z. Okay, so let's see right here. I think this one just came up. Okay, so unpredictable. Why is iFast not picking up after a good set of results? Bennett is also asking about iFast. I think Tiffy, you are also asking about iFast. Okay, so let's discuss iFast. Okay, let me just change my screen right there. All right, okay, so here we have iFast. All right, Bennett, I'm not too sure whether you are currently holding any iFast shares or you're looking to buy or looking to sell, or what's the situation there. But I think Tiffy, you bought at 8.85. Prices, probably you bought just before earnings lah. Right, so should be sometime in October, right? Sometime in October you bought some iFast shares. I haven't looked into iFast a lot, but from my understanding, it looks like company is still growing. But my caution always when somebody is bringing up iFast is because their shares outstanding is not a lot. It's comparatively a lot smaller than most shares out there. So every little move, every little buy up, sell down can cause share prices to move very aggressively. That is one thing to take note for iFast. That's why sometimes you see the share price can fall, can rise very erratically because of the share float. All right, so if we are looking at it technically, we can see that the 20 days moving average definitely are flattening out, pointing down. But I would still say, okay, maybe we are more in a bearish situation after that $10 level wasn't being able to break through. I think this is the second time already this year. So I think in August as well, it came close to $10, wasn't able to break through it. But right now, we could see a little bit of relief if prices are able to hold above that 850 to the 870 support level. I think that is where you could potentially see a little bit of buyers coming in, like sometime in September, sometime in early October as well. Currently, we still have that 1GT bullish signal actually playing out. All right, Bennett, so you bought at 903, 920. All right, so you're buying on the way. I hope it was buying on the way up, not buying on the way down. 920, then 903, then buying all the way down. I think this can be very dangerous. Okay, so if we are looking at that trading support and resistance right here, all right, trading support and resistance is right around that 875 level. Right now, we are still holding above that trailing support, but we are heading very, very close to it. All right, so as you can see, when prices move up for the trailing support, like Z had mentioned just now, the trailing support will move up together with it. But when prices are moving down, the trailing support will just remain flat. It will not just go lower together. No, it's the same concept as a stop loss, as a stop limit order. You can never shift your stop limit order, or you should never shift your stop limit order down. All right, so right now that trailing support is just hovering at 876, 875. I think this is a level to actually watch out for, alongside with the 850 to 870 support level. Because why? If prices were to break below, all right, were to break below this 870, 850 level, we are essentially heading back to where we were in October of 2024, which is around that $8 psychological level. That is where the 200 days moving average is currently at as well. So I think these are the key levels to watch out for. You may want to take some steps, all right? Take some steps to protect your downside. Protect your downside by having a stop limit order under that trailing support, maybe, or even under that horizontal support if your risk appetite allows for it. All right, so who's to say that prices won't be able or won't rebound from that 875 or that trailing support level? So I think this could be potentially a level for you to consider an accumulation as well. But here's the thing. I say accumulate doesn't mean when one reach 870, you go and buy again. You want to actually wait for this 20 days moving average flatten out, maybe slightly pointing up. You perhaps got to buy a little bit more expensive, maybe about 890, something like that. But at least we have a further confirmation of that trend heading up once again. All right, so the upside, I would say, remains to about $10 first. Still a very respectable upside from the current, from that support level as well. We are seeing a solid 14% upside. However, if prices head back towards that $10, we have tested it twice, not able to break above this level just yet, this $10 level. You can also consider what we call taking some profit close to that level, right? Close to that $10 level, maybe that 990, 995 level, if you can, or if you want to consider getting out, locking in some of those profit, putting the money in your pocket as well. I think completely okay in this case. because prices have been moving very, very erratically. There is no firm confirmation that there will be a break above $10 going to $11 as of now. However, if we see what are the signs of a good breakout, we want to see prices very, very firmly heading up, right? A stable uptrend. It was like sometime in August as well. That could give us a good sign, right? Sorry, September right here, it's very steadily heading up, rather than like a gap up suddenly, then prices start to tumble again. I want to look for a steady move up, a break above that $10 level. Prices firmly holding above that $10, consolidating close to that $10 level. Yes, I would say right there, that $10 level would have become a support level. All right, so that, let me just do a little bit of a projection right here. I would say that next upside could be projected to about 11.25 if that $10 level were to be given way or were to be broken through as well. So I think for iFast, you're still in a okay position. Right now, it looks like it's worsening a little bit, but we just want to monitor those key levels, 850, 870, above $10. All right, guys? So I think that is for iFast. I'll pass the time now back to Z to cover the next stock.
All right, thanks, Bervyn. Yeah, I agree with what Bervyn said. And also the name iFast, right? Sometimes I also think that because the stock, in Singapore context, this iFast stock also moves sometimes quite fast. So better to have a downside protection as well. Okay, so the next stock that I have over here would be by Jeff, right? Jeff is asking, hi, bought SIA at 640. Can hold at 640 or not? Okay, so let's take a look at SIA. Right, so SIA, if we look at the trend itself, okay, maybe let me just turn this off first, okay? Then it may be clearer. Yeah, okay, so like now it's much cleaner, right? So when we look at this, the trend is not very obvious, right? Because now you see that the moving averages is kind of like a bit all over the place, lah. Not exactly ideal in a sense whereby we usually want to look for something like that, right? Green above the red, above the blue, and all of them are actually pointing up. This is the ideal, like, moving average that we want to look out for. But right now, this is what we are seeing, right? So the green is kind of like just wobbling sideways, and it's below the red, but the blue is going up. So the long-term and short-term trend doesn't really match, lah, because it is not very clear that we are indeed in a firm uptrend, or neither is it in a firm downtrend, right? So it's a bit not here, not there, right? But Jeff, you mentioned that you bought SIA at 640, so you're holding at 640, and then you're thinking whether should you hold, right? So now the question is, when the trend is not so clear, we of course got to take note of support and resistance level, because if prices were to break below a support, what does it mean? It means that it's not so good, right? And selling pressure are coming back in, and bears are taking control, right? So that is where you want to be a bit more cautious if support level are being broken. And based on the SIA right now, what can we see is that, from August all the way to where we are at, right? Prices have kind of like just been, within this range. And this range is pretty clear. It's at this 640 level, and also this 670 resistance. So it's kind of like moving in a sideways consolidation phase, like in terms of the price action, right? And this 640 has been tested at least a couple of times, right? Back in May, right over here, back in June, right here, and then very recently, a few weeks back, right, on the 14th of November, right here as well. So I would say 640 is definitely one of the crucial support level that you want to take note of. All right, and in terms of resistance wise, right, I would say around this 670, right, this level right over here, right, where we actually start to see selling pressure returning over the past month or so, right? So I mean, of course, now I don't know whether price will actually hold above this 640, but I think if I were you, right, I would definitely place some risk management, right, if prices were to break below the 640 lah, because if prices were to break below the 640, are unable to hold above it like so, right, and then it breaks below 640, right, I mean, would you agree that the probability of it heading down is higher? I mean, definitely yes, and also because we can see over here, right, previously back in April when Trump announced the first tariffs, buyers came back in only to support the prices where right over here, right around the 570 level mark, whereby this potentially could be where buyers are returning, right? So if prices were to break below the 640, I mean, I don't know whether you'll go back all the way down to 570 lah, but there could be a chance, right? There could be a chance if the 640 is actually broken, right? So now the thing is that perhaps for Jeff, right, you might want to take note and set some, you know, price alert or set some stop loss, right, to protect your downside for your case, right? But of course, if prices can consolidate, right, and hold above this 640, you know, and consolidate sideways within this range, right, I think it is also okay for you to, you know, take some profits at this level lah. Or even if you want to take full profits, it's also okay, right? Because the trend at this point in time, not very clear, right? Not very clear, right? But if you want to take some profits, where would it be? It will be near the resistance around the 670, right? So for those of you who are thinking about buying, I think at this point in time, I would hold on a bit first and to, you know, wait for more confirmation, like at least to give me like a 1GT bullish signal confirmation. Because if you guys remember, just now when I turn this on, right now, what do we have? We have a bearish signal as well. Not a bullish signal, but a bearish signal. So for those of you who are thinking about buying, right, perhaps you might want to continue to monitor first. Definitely monitor the 640 and also monitor for another 1GT bullish signal coming up, as well as, you know, at least some signs of the trend, right, whereby the moving averages, right, it's not pointing down. Now the green line is still pointing down, right? So Jeff, I hope that answers your question in terms of, you know, what can you potentially think about and do, right, in terms of your situation whereby you are currently still holding SIA at 640, right? Just make sure to have your trading plan in place, especially to manage your risk on the downside if prices is unable to hold above the 640 level. Okay, so I hope that helps. That's a very quick one for SIA. Back over to you, Bervyn, to cover the next stock.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Z. Okay. So I think we have to round it up here since we covered UOB and DBS. Now we got to cover OCBC as well. Okay. Let's see. All right. OCBC definitely looking better on first glance compared to UOB. Not as bullish on it as DBS. A little bit of sellers actually coming in. All right. A little bit of sellers actually coming in under that $19 resistance. Under $19 resistance, we see two 1GT bullish signals. Right, two 1GT bullish signals coming in October and November. Right, prices really tried to push very hard. You know, it had been kept under pretty much this $17 level since this year, since the start of this year. And finally, after so long, we finally managed to break above that $16 level, pushing even higher. You know, just a matter of days, it pushed close to $1, breaking above that $18 level. And right now, we actually see a little bit of sellers coming in, and we are right back at that $18 level. Right back at $18 level. So is this a level for, is this an opportunity for what you call accumulation or bargain hunting? Yes, I think potentially this could be a level for many people are looking to, you know, add on their positions on OCBC, you know, trying to scale into their win. This could be the dip that they are actually looking for. Why? It's because that 20 days moving average currently pointing up, right? It's still currently pointing up. That 100 days, 200 days moving average still currently pointing out, although they have a little bit of catch up to do with that 20 days moving average, but it is still pointing up. And as of this morning, it looks like, you know, it looks like that $18 is currently being tested. Right, so I have drawn that entry zone. I would say right around that 8 to about 820 level. That is where I will put my buy zone at. All right, so doesn't mean buy at this level, then prices must rebound for you, go to $19 and then go to $20. Not necessarily, but if you were to get in, or if you are considering an entry, if you're considering an entry for OCBC, most definitely you want to look out for your downside. All right, because prices climbed very quickly, there wasn't much of a consolidation. You could face that downside towards that $17 if this breakout or this support doesn't hold. All right, so very quickly, I think I will just turn on that trailing support and resistance right here. You can see that the trailing support currently is at about 1780, 1779, potentially placing a stop limit order under not above, under that trailing support if you were to consider an entry close to that $18 support level. This is where you want to cap your downside towards. So that will represent a very tiny downside of about 2%. Much more palatable, much more digestible if you were to lose 2%. If this breakout doesn't pan out and we are heading back to that $17 level, at least you will then be able to reposition yourself otherwise. All right, so it doesn't mean that that $18 level means must 100% must buy now, go and buy, log into your account now and buy. No, you can actually monitor to see a few days. All right, a few days to see if prices are consolidating closer to that $18 level. Yes, and then I think that's where you can position yourself for an entry as well. All right, for those of you who are currently already holding on to OCBC and a little bit of being a little bit worried, hey, is prices going back to that $17 level? This is the same plan you can actually deploy. And if prices break below that 1770 level, that is where you lock in your gains. Right? You lock in your gains already from that breakout. If you have already previously positioned yourself to get in October or during that breakout as well, you are sitting on some gains. I think let's not let that gains go to waste. All right. So if you were comparing the three banks, I would currently say OCBC is most prime for entry, DBS most prime for a breakout, and then UOB watch and monitor lah. We're still looking a little bit more bearish. All right, so I think that is a very quick one for UOB. UOB. OCBC, I'll pass the time back to Z to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you, Bervyn. Okay, so I think today, we have did a wrap up of the banks already. Okay, so let me move on to the next one, and I have over here by Aiden. Right, Aiden is asking about CSE Global. CSE got at 0.735. Today, M top forming can still hold. Good question. Okay, so let's take a look at this CSE. I think, let me see how many of you guys are here today. About 263. About 263 of you guys are here. Okay, awesome. So maybe you guys can also help me to help Aiden out, right? Based on what you are looking at right now. For CSE Global, Aiden actually got at 0.735. Price now is at about 0.955. Definitely sitting on profits, right? And do you guys think that, he should hold, or he should sell, or he should buy some more? Let me know. B for buy, H for hold, S for sell. Okay, let me know what do you guys think. I just want to see how many of you guys have what opinion on this particular stock, right? For CSE Global. Let's see. Ivan says buy. Rajan says hold. Pinky the Miffy says hold. Okay. Victor hold. Vincent buy. Glenn hold. Colin hold. Ivan, okay, Ivan sell some. Change from buy to actually sell some. Nikki, buy more and more. Like hold. Okay, I see that there's a lot of like H lah, right? There's a lot of like H more than anything else. So I would say that perhaps what you guys are also agreeing is that maybe you guys think that Aiden can continue to hold lah, right? And for my case, I also think can continue to hold, but let's take a look at it deeper, right? Let's take a look at it deeper, because Aiden, you mentioned that you got at 0.735, right? Let's see, 0.735 around here, right, to where we are at right now. You are sitting on about 30% of unrealized profit. Congrats. Okay, so now of course your question is, a price now so high already, should sell a bit, should hold, or should maximize profit, right? That's very valid lah, because I mean, definitely when you're sitting on profits, everybody, have a little bit of greed lah. We want to maximize our profit and earn as much as possible, right? Nothing wrong, right? So, but what we can see from the chart, we got to take some reference in terms of the price action, right? Because definitely the price action is telling us something. Whenever there's some sort of resistance over there, it just means that the sellers are all queuing there to sell lah, right? And this would be very obvious at where? At this $1 psychological level, right? Over the past week or so, we can see that candlesticks have been testing this $1 psychological level, but unable to break above it, right? And today, it didn't even open near the $1, it opened even lower, right, at 0.975, right? So if you ask me whether will it break the $1, I don't know, right? I don't know whether will it break the $1, but what I do know is that over the past 1 week or so, 1 to 2 weeks, it is indeed testing the $1, and the $1 level is showing some sort of resistance whereby selling pressures are there, perhaps doing profit taking, or the bears are actually in control within this zone right over here. All right, and that's just the resistance, right? So then we want to take a look at the support as well, like where potentially is the support level. So I'll say one of the support level I've drawn over here will be the 85 cents, right? And the other one very clearly will be the 75 cents, right? This was the level that it was tested as a resistance for over, I think, 2 months or so, from September to October. Break above it, test this 850, then eventually break above 850, and now testing the $1. So overall, you guys can see that the support level gets higher and higher, right? And that's a good thing in terms of a stock, right? Because that's essentially what we want to see, the buying pressure is getting stronger and buyers are willing to step in to buy at higher prices. That is the reason why we have higher support being found, right? Makes sense, right? So now the question that Aiden has is, can still hold or not, right? Can still hold or not? So based on the trend that we have just analyzed, buyer pressure, buyers are actually stepping in to buy at higher prices, new supports are being found, all three moving averages are heading up, and we see not one but two consecutive 1GT bullish signal coming up. So based on all of this, I would say that there's nothing wrong to hold, right? But again, there's nothing wrong to hold because all signs point to this stock still pretty strong, right? The uptrend is actually still intact. It's just that over the past week, we are seeing some sort of resistance right over here, right? So I think if Aiden, if you would like, you can consider to actually take some partial profits, right? I think just now who said it? I think Ivan, right? I think just now Ivan said it. Yeah, correct. Ivan said it as well. Sell some at resistance. So there's nothing wrong to actually take some partial profits at this resistance level, right? At this resistance level near the $1. Nothing wrong. Because if you sell some, like what I mentioned earlier on, you also feel better in terms of your emotional wise because like, wow, I already taken some profits already, right? And you know, it helps with managing emotions and give you a bit more confidence as well. And if price, like what Ivan clearly say over here, I think Ivan is a pro already. So Ivan said if price break out above the $1, then $1 become what? A new higher support. Then is it okay to actually buy back a bit more when price firmly, not just break, but must be firmly break and hold above the $1? Is it okay to actually buy more? I would say it's okay because that would be considered a breakout strategy, like what Ivan has said over here. Buy some after the breakout, provided that, of course, the $1 becomes a new higher support level, right? So there's nothing wrong to actually take some profits, and then you can actually re-enter again, if prices were to break out, or if prices were to retrace back to this 85, this support zone, right, that we have mentioned, this could also be an area, right? Because for potential zone of entry, whereby you can position yourself for entry, whereby you can set price alert at this support zone right over here near the 85 cents, 86 cents right over here, or it could be above the $1 and like maybe $1 and $2, $1 and 1.02, 1.03. Is both is fine, right? Because both are valid, right? Both are valid, but it depends on your own risk appetite, because some people, they might not be so comfortable with buying at higher prices, right? Above the $1 whereby they sell it. Some people, it's a bit of mindset as well. Some people might not be willing to buy at that price, but if the stock is good, based on the 1GD framework and based on what Bervyn, myself, and Joey has been repeating so many times, right? If the stock is good, it's okay to buy more even though it's more expensive. And if you get more confirmation that the stock is still strong, there's nothing wrong to actually buy it, right? Even though it's a bit more expensive, okay? Aiden, I hope that helps and makes sense for you in terms of, whether can you still hold, or what are some of the potential zones that you can monitor and watch out for if you are thinking to accumulate or even after selling some positions. All right. So I hope that helps. Back over to Bervyn to cover the next stock.
All right, thanks Z. Okay, so let me just change it right here. Go. Okay, so I think Roland, hi, welcome back, Roland. So please review my following buying stocks: UMS, Polo Marine, and CNMC Goldmine. So I think just now Z covered CNMC Goldmine. Okay, so I'll just cover Polo Marine. All right, Polo Marine right here. I think this was one of the stocks that actually Joey sent out note. I think just yesterday. Yes, I'm right. Yes, just yesterday. Can I just check who are the clients we have in the chat who have already received this note about Polo Marine from yesterday? Can you just type C in the chat so I know that you guys are clients and we can acknowledge and I can appreciate you as well joining us here today. All right, so we got Jared. Hi, Jared. Hi. Hi, Tina. Hi, Francis. Hi. Hi, Mifi. Hi, Aiden. Hi, Ace. Hi, Gary. Hi, Colleen. Hi, Bagwan. Hi, Michael. Hi, Kunaf. Hi, Joshua. Hi, Vincent. Okay, great. Vincent and me, but I didn't take position. Okay, no worries. All right, great. So, I mean, there's so many clients here. Great. Just wanted to appreciate your time to join us this morning. So for those of you who don't know, all right, Joey is a broker under Philips Securities. All right, so we are all working under Joey as well. So if you need a trading account or you are trading somewhere currently, your broker isn't doing anything to assist you, no trading ideas, no market update, nothing like that. You want to call, you want to look for somebody, you need to call in, wait on a hotline, press 5 for English, press 6 for Chinese, that kind of situation. I think Z has very nicely placed the link to be Joey's clients. You can find out more from there. Just click on the link and find out a little bit more. We look forward to actually, supporting you right there. All right. Okay. So just let's go on. MarcoPolo Marine. All right. So firstly, I would like to point out, like Joey has pointed out in the note. All right. So you do notice that MarcoPolo Marine is trading under 20 cents. Considered a penny stock, more towards the side of a penny stock. All right, so if you're trading anything like this, proper position sizing is encouraged, or in my words, strongly encouraged. All right, so cannot anyhow just buy, because every tiny movement in the stock could result in a bigger loss. Of course, can be result in a bigger gain as well lah. Okay, so we can see that I think it has been pretty stagnant since August last year. Slightly run up in April, but pretty much flat, slipping since August of last year all the way until most recently, I would say in July. All right, in July, it finally woken up, pushing a lot faster, a lot higher as well. I would say we have to be very reasonable here. I think you are unlikely to go and buy when this 1GT bullish signal has appeared, right? Because everything will have still be pointing out, need 20 days moving average pointing up. I think your more likely entry would have been somewhere around here, around this range, right? Around this 6.7 cents range to that 70 cents range. That is a more likely entry wise, because you have seen a bullish crossover, 20 days moving average start to point out, and then prices also broke above the previous resistance. All right, so I think that is a more reasonable entry and a more likely entry even for myself as well. And the upside still represents quite a little bit, 55% upside as of today, and that 1GT bullish signal is still playing out. So Roland got in at about 111 or right. So we can see that maybe pull back a little bit today, trading about under that 11 cents, but we're still currently holding above that 105 immediate resistance. I just want to shorten this line a little bit right here like that. All right, so that 105 immediate support is still currently holding, prices are still currently trading above this immediate support. That 20 days moving average still pointing up, and it is currently at that 105 level as well. I think within that note, you can see that Joey have actually drawn the upside towards $1 and not $1, 13 cents first. All right, 13 cents first would be the immediate upside. So with that in mind, if let's just say we're talking about today's entry, great, 18.5% upside still present right there, as long as prices are able to hold above that 105. All right, so Roland got in just now about 111, right? So just slightly higher. I guess the entry is fine. It's still within that support zone that I would have drawn as well. But like I've said before the start of this being a more lower price counter, more volatile as well. Prices didn't really, consolidate much as you move higher. You want to just be a little bit more cautious, right? Be a little bit more cautious how you can turn on that trailing support and resistance, right? You can see that trailing support and resistance right now, Roland, is right around where under that 10 cents level, about 9.9 cents. Okay, let's just call it 10 cents. Let's just call it 10 cents. You may want to have a exit plan, right? Exit plan just under that 10 cent level, maybe about 0.97. That could be potentially where you may want to get out if this trailing support is broken, right? That represents about 12% downside. The upside from the current price would be about 18%, so more than 1.5 reward to risk ratio, right? So that is how you want to actually plan out your trades. Plan out your trades before anything happens. Because when anything happens, you'll be too much in a panic, or you'll be too emotional to actually have a plan already. So right now, I think you are still sitting in a good position. You're still sitting on I think will be probably a break even right now, close to your entry price. So I think have a plan now. It's still not too late to have a plan. Would the plan involve you selling it now? No. Would the plan involve you buying it now? You have already bought. Would your plan involve you having an upside? All right, what's your upside target? What's the target where you potentially want to take some profit? All right, take some profits as well. Maybe reduce some exposure, maybe half, 1/3. But if the trend still looks good, nothing wrong to keep some exposure as well to continue to ride that upside. All right, so I think for MarcoPolo Marine, I just want to give a little bit more insight and a little bit more exercise, a little bit more caution as well. So, but for those of you who are looking to get in, these are the levels that you can actually watch out for as well. All right, so I think that's a very quick one for MarcoPolo Marine. I think you guys can continue to look out for any further updates if the price continues to move higher from Joey's notes as well. Okay, so I'll pass the time to Z to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you, Bervyn. Okay, so I see this comment over here, right? By Chris. Dear Z, please comment on ST Engineering. Once upon a time, your darling counter can buy CC. Actually, okay lah. This one is not just my darling counter. I believe everybody who actually gotten in at the start of the year, this is also their darling counter lah, right? And also probably, I mean, this stock now definitely is still in my watch list, in Bervyn's watch list, and also in Joey's watch list. Basically, it's still in our team watch list, and we are still monitoring this stock lah. But over the past couple of months, it just seems like for this particular stock, right, it is taking a breather, right? It's taking a breather in terms of the short-term trend. Why do I say that? Right, because let me just zoom in. All right, let me just zoom in right over here, right? Can you guys see that, the red and the blue line, right? Actually, it still looks pretty okay, right? It still looks pretty okay. The blue line, don't have to say, like, it's still pointing up, right? The red line is pointing up, but it is slowly, like, it's tapering, right? It's tapering, but overall, it's still generally heading upwards, right? It's just that the short-term trend over the past couple of months or so, we see, it's a bit up and down, and now it's like kind of like going sideways, right? It's going sideways. And the price action as well, it gives us a confirmation that you see that the price over here, right? It has also been just going up and down within a range also lah, right? Oops, let me just draw this like that, right? It's just kind of like going within a very typical like sideways movement range, right? So, so the thing is that now based on this price action, right, we can know where would be the support and the resistance level lah. Then from there, then we can take one step further to know, okay, potential support is where, and then that's where we can then potentially position ourselves for entry. All right. So for the chart, definitely the lines. This is a counter that Chris, I believe you have also joined us for a couple of times, right? In our previous session, these are the lines that we have drawn as well, and I think it is still valid at this point in time, right? In terms of like the support and the resistance, right? So as you can see over here, $8, right? I think would be one of the psychological support, right? At this point in time that I would take note of as well, lah, because $8, number one, is a psychological support, and number two, back in like June to July, this entire month right over here, right? You can see that it is actually testing this $8 lah, and we have to break above it. I mean, unfortunately, somewhere in September, this period, right, about 1 month mark, it did break below, but very quickly it rebounded back up. Then subsequently in October, this $8 is being tested, but it's no longer testing as a resistance, but testing as a support. So you can see that this $8 is being tested multiple times as a resistance, as a support, and over a period lah, right? Not just 1 or 2 days, but over a period, right? And so $8, I would say, definitely would be one of the immediate support that I will take note of, right? I mean, the other support right over here would be the $7.50. Like, this is the other support when buyers came in to support the prices, right? After we got 2 consecutive 1GT bearish signal, this is where buyers came back in. So $7.50 will be the next support, right? Below the $8 level. But of course, $8 will be the immediate support that I want to take note of first, all right? So now that we have established the support, what about resistance-wise? Resistance definitely, I think, still remain the same, pretty clear at about this $9 range, right? Because $9, why? Somewhere in August, the price has been testing this $9, never really reached the $9, but every time we try to attempt to go near the $9, cannot break above it, selling pressure came back in. this time somewhere in when is this October, early October, right? It did touch the $9, but unable to break above it. 1GT bearish signal came out, selling pressure came in and pushed price back down again. So right now, I mean, now price is trading about 840, right? So it's about, not here, not there, within the range of these $8 and $9, somewhere in between, in the middle of nowhere, right? So the thing is that I don't know if prices will actually go back up to the $9 level, or it will actually go down to the $8 level. It can go either way, right? It can go either way. But what we know is now we know that there is potentially, this is what we call a potential buy zone. This is what we call a potential sell zone. And with that, you can actually formulate your trading plan already, right? So in a sense whereby, we don't want to buy near a resistance. I mean, of course, if prices were to rebound back up, would you rather buy here, or would you rather buy here if prices go back to a support? I would rather buy near the support zone, because that is the whole basis of the 1GD framework, right? Plus the fact is that longer term trend, red and the blue line over here, is still looking healthy, right? It's still looking healthy. So right over here, so to answer your question, Chrissy, in terms of where can you potentially monitor to position yourself for entry, maybe somewhere around the $8, this $8 support zone, right? And this is where you can potentially set some price alert, right, to position yourself for entry, or to set some alerts to monitor at this level, right? Because if this level doesn't hold, right, just now like what I say, if this level doesn't hold, where can it potentially head towards the next support, around the 750, around this level right over here, right? But of course, if it breaks below the $8, I think that's where you want to be a bit more cautious with that, because perhaps by then we will not just have one GT bearish signal, but we perhaps might have two consecutive 1GT bearish signal, right? So when we are seeing bearish signal consecutively, based on Joey's framework and strategy as well, it's not something that you want to faster go and get in, because if there's bearish signal, why you want to get in, right? You want to wait for more confirmation, like a bullish signal coming up, then position yourself for entry, right? So if it breaks the $8, I think that's where you want to monitor the stock again, right? Don't have to rush, right? But definitely $8, if it can hold above this $8, I think this is where you can set price alert to position yourself, right? And if prices can rebound back up, right, to this $9, nothing wrong to actually take profits at this $9 level. Why? Because previously we can see multiple times, right, selling pressure came back, right? And of course, if price can break above the $8 mark, then potential upside target we are looking towards is towards the $10 range. And how did I get this $10 range? Based on this projection right over here, right? You see this range, $8 to $9, that is trading sideways for a couple of months, right? You project it up, that the next upside target is about the $10, right? So I think for this particular stock, definitely it still looks okay at this point in time. Not too much to worry about yet. But I think key thing is to monitor the $8 support and also the $9 resistance, especially for those of you who have been holding on to this stock, since when we first covered it, right, many months back as one of our bonus stock in our AMS session, right? If you have gotten in, somewhere when it was at the start of the year, right, to where you are at now, that's already a 80% profit. So the thing is that, I want to reiterate that don't make your winners become your losers, right? Make sure to take steps actively to protect your profits, right? And if prices can go up to $9, that would be, about how much? 90% profits already, right? Nothing wrong to actually take some partial profits near the resistance zone, all right? Doesn't mean that you cannot buy back again. Can still buy back, no problem, right? But take active step to protect your profits as well, okay? So, Chrissy, I hope that helps to give you some levels to actually take note of and to set some price alert, and don't have to rush, right? Don't have to rush, because right now, like I said, price is a bit in the middle of nowhere, not here, not there. And we don't want to get into a situation whereby we are a bit stuck. So usually, general rule of thumb is that we usually want to buy near a support zone. All right. So by the way, right, for those of you who are new here, not too sure what is the 1GT strategy or framework is about. The thing is that today, Bervyn and myself, usually for our Ask Me Any Stock session on Friday, we don't have time to actually go and deep dive into the entire 1GT strategy and the framework, right? But if you guys are free, I believe Joey will actually have a next webinar. When is it? Let me see. I think it is.
It's on the 6th of January.
6th of January, correct. I think this year no more already. So the next 1GT webinar, right, that Joey will be hosting is on the 6th of January. By the way, it's free, right? So if you guys want to learn more about the entire 1GT framework and the strategy, and also, you know, the indicators, you know, and basically the framework behind this 1GT Pro indicator, right? Feel free to actually attend the upcoming webinar by Joey on the 6th of January. It's free, right? It's free. Then that's where, you know, you can get a bit more insights on how the entire indicator work and the entire framework, right? And also, you know, some sort of checklist that we actually practice as well to see, you know, what are some of the levels that we can potentially enter or exit a position. Okay, so yeah, Chrissy, I hope that helps for ST Engineering. Definitely, I think this will be still be in our watch list. Nothing much to worry about yet, but just take note of some of the levels as mentioned. All right, so back over to you, Bervyn, to cover the next stop.
All right, thanks Z. Okay, so let me just, before I pick the next stock, I just wanted to go through what we have already covered today. Because I think some of you guys are asking for the stocks that I actually already covered. So just want to let you guys know that after the live stream, the replay will be available. So you can actually just go back and rewatch for those stocks that you actually have requested for. All right, so I think this morning we started off talking about the STI, moving on to the S&P 500. Then firstly, I covered SIA Engineering, Z covered Propnex, followed by Yangzijiang Financial, DBS, UOB, CNMC Goldmine, iFast, SIA, I covered OCBC, Z covered CSE Global. All right, then MarcoPolo Marine, and then STI Engineering. All right, so I think we covered about 12, 13 stocks, but I see that there's actually a lot more stocks that you guys are requesting for. Unfortunately, we're not able to go through every single one of you guys' requests. We would like to, but we're unable to. So, I mean, just do join us back for the next Singapore session for this AMAS. I think Z, maybe can we go for maybe about 2 more rounds before we talk about the bonus stock as well? I think that should be just nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go. Okay, so let me just throw up my screen right there. I think someone was asking, I think RL hopefully is still with us this morning. All right, Comfortdelgro dash sell. Is it time to sell? All right, so I'll just do it very quickly. Let's just see. I have turned on that 1GT bullish and bearish signal already, just to get a quick opinion on the stock. We actually see that after prices have broken at 150, that 150 support level, we actually see a 1GT bearish signal actually come in. The prices crash all the way down to $1. No, it had actually entered a lower consolidation phase. Of with the support around 140. So the current range looks to be about 140 to 150, but selling pressure has persisted. All right, see, it tested the 150 level a couple of times, not able to break above it once again. Sellers coming back multiple times, and I think at the start of this week, we actually see that the 20 days moving average crossed below that 100 days moving average, a sign that, you know, selling pressure is still very, very persistent, and we still witness in this counter as well. So I think right now we actually see prices today actually still pointing down or heading down. Sellers still pretty much in control since the start of the trading day, but we're still above that 140 level. All right, we're still above that 140 level. We're in between, I would say, that 140 to that 150 level. This is what I like to call like a no man's land. So if you're thinking of buying, definitely a no. Right? You don't want to buy in the middle of a support and a resistance. Then you start to be a little bit confused on which direction the price can actually head towards. All right, so if you're looking to sell, of course, I would have much rather, you know, you sold when that support 150 was broken, 148, 149, 147. I think that is where, you know, potentially your trading plan will have kicked in and you have already gotten out. But currently, it's still holding. Right, it's still holding on to some Comfortdelgro shares. I'm not too sure what is your risk appetite or what is your trading plan. But if that 140 level were to be tested and it gives way as well, I think the next key support could be around that 135 level. 135 level could be the next support level. All right, so there is still plenty of downside from where we are currently. You do not want to be, be stuck in a situation where you have to sell at 135. Why? It's because prices will then already be trading under the 200 days moving average. The 100 days moving average would likely already be pointing down. Definitely that 20 days moving average will already be pointing down. So I think it's maybe time to actually think about exit plan. Think our exit plan and then how to reposition yourself for an entry. All right. So the longer term trend definitely still pointing up. All right, longer term trends definitely still pointing up, but we are witnessing that selling pressure in the nearer term. I think what you want to do is to actually maybe set up some alerts above that 150 level, just to get yourself alerted that 150 resistance level has been broken, and see if prices are able to hold above this level. All right, hold above this 150 level if you are looking to get in once again. But what would that upside be towards? That upside would then be towards that 160 level, that high they achieved in July of 2025. I think that is where you can potentially reposition yourself for an entry towards that 160 level first. I think right now, I think an exit plan should be considered as well, especially if prices continue to weaken for Comfortdelgro. Right, shift your capital to somewhere else, look for another opportunity. I think losses should not be too great for yourself for Comfortdelgro just yet, not too far from this high as well. So I think your losses shouldn't be very wide lah. Right? All right, so I think that is a very, very quick one for RL. That is for Comfortdelgro. So I think I'll pass the time back to Z to cover the next stock.
All right, thanks, Bervyn. Okay, we are going a bit faster now. Then after that, we will have two more stocks that we will pick from the chat. Then we will share our bonus stock. Okay, so the next one that I have over here will be by Bak Guan, right? Hi, Bak Guan. Am considering to buy SGX. What is the good timing? Please advise. Okay, so when you say you want to buy SGX, I'm glad you are asking about SGX. And SGX, when I open the chart, it is actually going up rather than it's going down. Because sometimes, when we go and see stocks that is requested by you guys and you guys are asking us to buy a stock, then once we open the chart, wow, everything is pointing down. Then we were like, ayo, how come want to buy this stock? But I'm glad that Bak Guan, you actually mention about a stock that is in an uptrend, right? And you are thinking about buying, and that's the very good first step, right? Because it's about the mindset, right? We want to buy a stock that is in an uptrend, that is in a healthy uptrend. And based on this, even if I don't turn on the signals, you guys all can also see, right? Hey, this stock, not too bad, right? It is the chart looks pretty beautiful and it's quite nice, right? The red and the blue line is pointing up. The green line generally is sloping up. But I mean, of course, over the past 1.5 months or so, right, we are seeing some, the 20 days moving average is kind of like flattening out. But overall, it is still it's still looking pretty decent, right? So for SGX, right, they are thinking about buying. So let's take a look at the recent price action as well. All right, so let me just zoom in right over here. Okay, so like I've mentioned, red and the blue line, I don't really have to talk about it. The longer term trend is definitely up, right? Ivan also said good uptrend. Glenn also mentioned good uptrend. Yeah, definitely. I also agree in terms of the uptrend for SGX is definitely great, right? But short term trend wise, it was going up lah. It is going up. But until I think about 1 to 2 months, 1 month back about October, right, it started to like flatten out, and there's some signs of like short term weakness, right, in terms of the short term trend based on the moving average. And with that, if we look at the price action in terms of the candlestick, we see that price is just kind of like here within this range, like so, right? So it seems like it's kind of like consolidating sideways. Yes, I agree. Glenn was mentioning consolidating. I agree that is short term wise, it looks like it's kind of like consolidating sideways, right? And it's consolidating sideways where? Because when we talk about consolidation, definitely consolidation, there is a lower barrier and there's a higher barrier, right? And that would be what we call a support and a resistance, right? So where are the support and the resistance at when it is consolidating? I would say somewhere near this 1650. This would be what we call a support level, right? And the resistance about 1750, right? Why did I pick up these two levels? Number one is because you see right over here, right? This 1650 has actually been tested a couple of times, and also like prices near it but unable to, the buyers are coming in to support the prices near the 1650 level, right? And resistance also pretty clear that selling pressure is actually present here. Unable to break above the 1750 somewhere at the start of October, right? Selling pressure came in, bear stock control, push it back down to retest the 1650. So I would say that these two levels are 1650 and about 1750. This would be what we call the range that prices has been trading since start of October, right? So when price is actually trading in a range and we are seeing that the short-term moving average is actually going sideways, right? Potentially, what we can see is price trading like that lah. But I don't know whether price will go up like that, or it could be a situation whereby price could be going sideways like so, right? Going sideways, and it could also break down, right? I don't know, right? But what I do know is that short-term wise, it is actually moving in a sideways manner, right? So when prices is actually moving in a sideways manner, you are thinking about buying, not say cannot buy, because longer term trend, we already analyzed, it is still actually heading up, right? And in fact, when the longer term trend is so strong, it's heading up, right? And when we are seeing sideways consolidation happening in a uptrend, right, it's actually a very healthy thing, because that will actually make the uptrend even more sustainable, right? It consolidate, break higher, consolidate, break higher. And that shows that buyers are willing to buy at even higher prices, and your resistance consistently become a new higher support. So that is actually what we want to see in an uptrend, right? So in terms of potential areas to accumulate some positions, right, I think, again, back to the framework, right? Where do we want to buy? We want to buy near a support, right? When we want to buy near a support, where would that be? And that support would be near this 1650, right? Because this is the zone, this is the level that it was consolidating sideways, and this is the level that buyers are coming back. So I would say that this could be one of the zones that maybe you can set some price alert, right? Maybe around 1660, 60, 65, 61, 62, 63. Yeah, you can set multiple alerts there to actually alert you, right? If price were to reach back to the level for you to actually potentially enter a position, right? But of course, in terms of entering a position is easy, right? Anybody got money also can buy. But the thing is that you got to make sure to have a plan in place lah when you actually get into a stock, right? And then target potentially it could be, around the 1750, right? Because there's a resistance zone, right? And with that is about what, 5 to 6%. Yeah, about maybe a close to 6% range that we are talking about. But of course, that being said, make sure to also protect your downside, right? To make sure protect your downside, if prices were to break below the 1650, unable to hold above it, potential downside, where are we looking towards? We are looking towards the 1550 level right over here, whereby you can see back in July, August, this was where, buying pressure came in to support the prices. So 1550 is the next support level that we are actually looking at, right? So if prices are unable to break, to hold above the 1650, potential downside we are looking at is towards the 1550 lah. So make sure to, as part of your trading plan, to have your risk management in place, your stop loss. That's what we always emphasize to you guys, all right? And, if I were to turn on the trading support very quickly, right, you can see that this trading support, maybe let me just clear everything. This trading support is exactly right at the 1650 here, right? Same as the horizontal support that I've drawn. So like what we mentioned, trading support is also where you can potentially use it to position yourself for entry. And now both of them are saying the same thing, right? Horizontal support, trading support, they are both saying the same thing, whereby prices is actually near this level. So this is where you can potentially set some price alert. Okay, so Bhagwan, I hope that helps in terms of, the SGX, right, and some of the levels that you can take note of, and to make sure to have your downside in place if prices, right, continues to weaken, short term continues to weaken and break below, the 1650. That's where you want to be a bit more cautious, to monitor a bit more, because we don't want, it to be a situation whereby it reverses back down and there are signs of it, right, but we don't take any action. Okay, so that would be for SGX. Back over to you, Bervyn, to cover the next stock.
All right, thanks, Z. Okay, so let's go next stock. Okay, right here. Can take a look at UOL and Bolster have both retreated from their high and can buy now. I will just cover UOL. I opened the counter and I was shocked. Wow, it had run up by so much. I haven't been monitoring this counter as much as well. Firstly, I think just right here, I think YH, I think you are seeing this one GT bullish signal actually coming right in, right? Another one showing up, 3-1 GT bullish signal already marking 32% gain. I think as of today, with marking about 50% gain. I think previously, for UOL, it had been pretty much, let me just off this for a quick second here. It had been pretty much been kept under this 750 level since 2017. Haven't broken this high just yet. And I think most recently, it had started to pick up once again. So far, it looks like the shorter term trend alongside the longer term trend, all looking good, right? All looking good. It's actually very beautiful, you know, green above the red, above the blue, all pointing up, you know, prices consolidating a little bit, push higher, consolidating a little bit, push higher. And most recently, we actually see sellers actually coming in very close to this psychological $9 level. They didn't actually test it, just came close, and then prices started to retrace, like as you said. So is it a time? All right, is it the time to buy now? All right, I would say if we look at what had happened in the past, just not too far back in the past, just in September. All right, it looks rather similar, right? Prices push higher, close to the $8 level, you know, tapered down, consolidated close to that support level. All right, close to that support level, we actually see, you know, it just consolidated and then started to push higher again. So let me just turn this back on again. So this was when we saw a 1GT bullish signal just appearing prior before that. All right, so we don't have the same 1GT bullish signal. All right, we're still stuck with 3 1GT bullish signal. I think still very, very good. We don't have a 1GT bearish signal appearing just yet, but we are at an all-time high, right? All-time high. So if we were to just do a little bit of a projection where prices could head to if $9 gives way, right? This could be your target as well, if you are looking to get in. Right, your target could be about that 9.50 level if that $9 level gives way. And if we were to just turn on that trailing support and resistance around that $8.11, 10 cents level, that is where that trailing support is currently at as well. Right, so we are in that support zone at this point. It has consolidated for a few days already. Don't get me wrong. It's consolidated for a few days, and it looks like it's holding above that 850 support level. This could be a window for you to get in. But like what Zee have just did, if you are looking to get in, right? So what is your upside going to be? Your upside is going to be towards, right? Let me just shift it out. If say you're using current price, about 4 to 5%. Right? What will your downside be? Your downside would be towards under that trailing support of 6%. Right? So for this trade to make sense, you would have to have a higher target of about 9.50, representing about $10 upside first. Unless you're going to have a very tight stop loss. All right, a very tight stop loss under, let me just change this to dash line, red color, under that horizontal support of 850. You want to have a stop loss there. That would tighten your trade up. That would maybe, that is only about a 2% downside. And if you're intending to only trade up to $9, that's a 4% upside. Right, so that would make sense as well. So depending on your risk appetite, I would say yes. Are we in a position to get in? I would say majority of the checklist, it is there. It looks like that longer term trend is definitely still pointing up as well. Potentially, if $9 gives way, the higher target, I would say very possible as well. So I think a couple of alerts. If you don't want to get in just yet, if you are still thinking about it, you want to set up some alerts under 850, maybe about 845, 830, 843, you know, just to let you know that the support is broken already. Then you maybe want to consider looking at that next support or getting in close to that trailing support. All right, closer to that trailing support, that would be another entry as well. And alternatively, if you have gotten in already YH, you want to, you know, just be aware of whether the next target have been reached. All right, so you want to maybe perhaps set up some alerts close to $9 and above $9 as well. And then lastly, a new 1GT bullish signals. If it appears, you want to be alerted as well. Right, so this is a very good example of scaling into your wins. So if you have bought already previously and you're looking to accumulate as prices head higher, this is a very classic example, I would say, of how to position yourself for a new entry or adding of your positions as well. All right, to just, you know, continue to ride that uptrend, especially when it looks intact. But don't forget about your downside. If you have ridden it for quite a while now, you're sitting on a tidy sum of profits. Take steps to protect your profit. Don't let those profits turn into any losses. All right. I think that is for UOL looking very good. I think I will add it into my own watch list as well to continue to monitor. thanks for sharing. I'll pass the time to Z to cover the last requested stock, last one before we talk about our bonus stocks. Z?
All right. Thanks, Bervyn. Okay, we have come to the last one, but then stay around, right? Because we will be sharing our bonus stock after this. Okay, so the last stock that I have, right, from you guys would be from Pachi, right? Pachi is asking about Keppel. Joey recommended stock Keppel, bought at $10. Now the price went to $9.88. Is it better to sell for loss, right? So maybe you guys, let me see, how many of you guys are still here? 228. Okay, 228 people are still here. Maybe you guys can help Pachi out as well, right? In terms of Keppel, what do you guys think of the trend right now? Do you guys think the trend is still good? Uptrend? Downtrend? Not so good? What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat, right? So that Pachi can also read your comment together, right? To see, is Keppel still uptrend? Is it still okay? Still good? Or not so good already? Let's see what you guys say, okay? Uptrend. All right, Jared, uptrend, Bak Guan, uptrend. Right, a lot of you guys are saying that it is still not too bad, right? ABC also say good, Colleen also say good, Ada also say good, Manford also says up. Right. So I also agree, right? I also agree with you guys that Keppel, right? The trend still looks pretty okay, right? It still looks pretty decent, right? You see all the moving averages are actually still heading up, right? Still heading up. But of course, Pachi mentioned that you bought about $10 lah. Now price is about 9.84, right? Definitely sitting on some unrealized losses, right? But overall, the trend, agree that it still looks good, right? Plus, the fact is that we got how many? 1 and 2. 2 consecutive 1GT bullish signal that is actually still playing out. Right, but of course, when you first enter in the counter at $10, I'm not too sure what was your trading plan, because by right, when we go into any counter, definitely we gotta have a trading plan in place lah. Because you enter already is one thing, but how do you know where you want to exit, right? Has it hit your stop loss? Has it hit your target? I don't know, right? Because by right, all of us should have a trading plan before you enter, right? So that it can help you to reduce your emotion as well, and you know what to do lah, right? You know what to do. Okay, so right now, definitely, like I mentioned, you are sitting on some unrealized losses, right? But overall, the trend still looks good, and we also got 2 consecutive 1GT bearish signal that's still playing out. Bullish signal that's still playing out. No bearish signal yet, right? No bearish signal yet. And right over here, right, you can see that one of the support level that I've drawn is around this $9.50, right? This $9.50, I think, is one of the support level, right? That previously it was actually a resistance about maybe 1 or 2 weeks, right? Somewhere in October, and unable to break above it, and eventually it managed to break above it in the middle of October, and it was holding above it since then, right? So I would say 950 would be the immediate support that I would take note of, right? And $10 is one of the psychological level lah, right, to take note of as well. But unfortunately, today price open, open exactly at $10, right? It opened exactly at $10, but it was trading, selling pressure came back and pushed price back below the $10 range, right? But the resistance, apart from this $10, the other level, right? The other resistance level that I've drawn is around this $10.50 right over here, right? $10.50. So now we know that there's a few levels that we need to take note of, right? Number 1 is the 950. Number 2 is the $10. Number 3 is the $10.50. And all these are like respective support and resistance level, right? But I think now your question is, but you're sitting on some unrealized losses, right? And you are thinking, whether, you see your account, you open your account, then you see that there's some red color figure down there, whether should you actually sell or not, right? Sometimes people might get a bit emotional, right? But the thing is that maybe you can use this as well to help you in terms of managing the aspect, whereby when we open the trailing support and resistance function, right now, is price still holding above the trailing support or not? It is, right? It is definitely still holding above the trailing support. And remember what we talk about the trailing support. Trailing support trails the prices as it moves up. It gives it the room, right, for it to breathe, right? Because it accounts for volatility, right? You can see that from the candlestick to this green line over here, there's some sort of space, right? And that space accounts from the stock volatility, and it's arrived from this thing called the average true range, right? But we don't have to get into the details. But all you need to know is that the trailing support, right, accounts for the stock volatility, giving it room to breathe, right? And as long as price is holding above the trailing support, it is still okay, right? It is still okay. But of course, you give it room to breathe already, and it still break below the trading support. If it still breaks below the trading support, then not so good, right? Then not so good. That's where maybe you want to think about reducing some exposure or like getting out. But so far, right, it seems like Keppel is still okay, right? It's still holding above the trading support. So for yourself, I'm not too sure what was your stop loss plan when you first enter at $10, right? It could be, slightly below the trading support as well. But like I've mentioned, trading support already give it room to breathe. But maybe sometimes you want to give it additional room to breathe because maybe some people might have more conviction on Keppel, the stock, right? Then that is also okay. You can actually place your stop loss order. Don't have to be below the trading support. It could also be below the 950, the horizontal support as well, because you have more conviction for the stock and you want to give it additional room on top of the trading support for it to breathe. Also okay. But the key thing is either or you need to have a stop loss plan in place, because if it does break below the 950 right over here, right, I think this support level that we've drawn, if it does break below this, then I think the potential downside, right, that we are looking towards, right, is back towards the 880 right over here, and that's about a 7% decline But of course, taking into account that you bought at $10, that's maybe about 12%, right? So the 880 will be the next support level that you want to take note of as well if it breaks below the 950. But of course, at this point in time, I think for your case, do think about your downside, right? How do you want to manage your downside? Where would you want to place your stop limit order? Because at this point in time, overall, definitely we all agree that the stock still look pretty decent, right? So don't have to worry too much as long as you have a trading plan in place. Follow your trading plan, be disciplined enough to follow your trading plan, and it's okay, because the thing is that out of 10 trades, not everybody can 100% win 10 out of 10, right? Sometimes there could be a few losses here and there, but the key thing is that few losses, we want to minimize it to as minimal as possible so that your wins is generally much bigger than your losses, and overall you are still in the green. Okay, I hope that makes sense. All right, and if prices are okay, the other target that I want to talk about, if prices is able to rebound and head back up to the $10, or maybe the next few days, right? If prices, testing the $10 and can hold firmly above the $10, then I think the potential upside targets that we are looking towards will be towards the 1050 as mentioned. And this is where you can also consider to, take some partial profits. Is also okay, right? Because I wouldn't suggest to take full profits because overall the longer term trend still looks okay. So if tell you take full profits already, then later you say, sell already, then no more position, right? But it's okay, right? It's okay. So you can also take full profits if you would like. If not, partial profits is also all right. Okay, so these are some of the levels that perhaps Pachi you can actually take note of, and just remember to make sure to have your downside risk in check. Okay, I hope that helps, Pachi. Now I will pass the time back to Bervyn, then he can start sharing our bonus stock for today.
All right, thanks Z. Keppel, yep, still on our watch list as well. Okay, so just before we share our bonus stock, I'd just like to take a little bit of the time to actually share that we are using the 1GT Pro indicator right here. All right, you can see on the screen that it shows up as a trading support, trading resistance. But if you just would like just try out without the trading support and trading resistance, I think you can definitely give it a shot, give it a try, just to get a quick opinion on the stocks that you already have. Okay, so I think Z will later help me to place the link to the 1GT Lite trial. So one is Lite, one is Pro. The Lite is just for the bullish and bearish signals. You can also set up the alerts for the 1GT bullish and bearish signals from that indicator as well to give it a shot. All right, for the first 14 days, I think Joey very kindly provided a trial. All right, okay, so before we wrap up, we have our bonus stocks. All right, bonus stocks. Just want to find out from you guys who are still here today, if you gain some value from today's live show, maybe you can type V in the chat. V for value. Value. So let me just switch it up to my screen right now before we share the bonus stock. Okay, here we go. Great value, Kunaf value, Rajan value. Great. So okay, hopefully we covered the stocks that you guys have actually requested for as well. Okay, so my bonus stock, I think for today, not hard to guess. I think if you guys have requested for the stock and you realize that we never really talk about your stock that is why it could be one of the potential bonus stocks that we are going to be talking about today. So stay all the way to the end to find out Z's one as well. So my bonus stock for today will be Bumitama Agri. This stock actually have seen, awakening. I would say awakening since August of this year. That move up really started to pick up. It really started to pick up their momentum after prices had broke that 80 cents resistance. Right, very, very swiftly finding a support at the $1.10 level. Then that is where we received another 1 GT bullish signal actually coming right in October, and prices very quickly pushed past that $1.30 level. So I mean, if you have been following Joey, you will have received multiple notes on Bumitama Agri as well. I think at the start of this week, right, at the start of this week, we actually see Bumitama finding a new high. Right, finding a new high at about a 160 level after breaking above that $1.50 resistance, now turned into a support. All right, the moving average is still looking very good, 20 above that 100 and 200 days moving average. All right, prices didn't really consolidate. All right, consolidated for 1 month, consolidated for about 2 weeks, then push higher. But that's why you see that 100 and 200 days moving average still playing a little bit of a catch-up game with the 20 days moving average. All right, so it looks like today we are back towards that 150 support. All right, prices open exactly at that 150 level, pushed higher before lunch, but I think we're still pretty much kept in that support zone between 150 to 155. All right, so as long as this 150 level is able to hold, we have drawn that upside target to about 180 first, representing about 15 to 20% upside to that next resistance level. So I would like to just very quickly turn on this trailing support and resistance function. You can see that that trailing support is right around that 130 level. From previously, 130 level is where that trailing support is. So definitely with that run up as well, you can see that the breathing space for Bumitama Agri is a little bit wider than typically, and definitely wider when it was back before August as well. All right, so I think in this case, if you are looking to get in for Bumitama Agri, this could be your window to get in. If you haven't added it to your watch list yet, this could be a window for you to add it into your watch list. Why? It's because that 180 level is broken. All right, I don't know when it will be broken or if it will be broken. Just telling you, if it is broken, that next upside could be towards that $2.10 level. But do take care of your downside as well, because that trailing support around that 130 horizontal support level, just recognize that if you get in, you could face a downside of close to 16%. So this is when I would say this is when your position sizing could be very, very, very important. So you don't get in on a position too big that when the losses or if the prices U-turn, you'll be stuck with a very heavy loss. So practice a little bit of position sizing, which I think Joey will also be talking a little bit about it during his 1GT webinar, not this year, next year, 6th January 2026. Do join in if you are not going, if you haven't signed up for it yet. And that's where you can get some insights into the whole entire 1GT framework as well. All right, so I think right now for Bumitama Agri still looking good today. We could see some bargain hunting coming in because prices are very close to that 150. In the general market sell down, I think you've seen most of the shares today actually selling down a little bit. Bumitama Agri is still holding up pretty well. Of course, lower than yesterday's close, but we are holding above that support level. All right, so that is for my bonus stock, Bumitama Agri. I'll pass the time now to Z to cover the last bonus stock for today and also wrap up for you guys.
All right, thanks, Bervyn. Okay, so let me just share my screen. And all right, the bonus stock that I would like to share with you guys today, right, would be Singtel, right? Singtel, I'm pretty sure many of you guys, all of you guys here, in fact, should know about Singtel lah. And probably you guys are also using Singtel, maybe for your internet at home or maybe even your phones lah. All right. So Singtel, I think just now, let me see. One of you guys also asking about Singtel. Who is it? Jaslyn, right? Jaslyn also asking about Singtel. Whether is it advisable to re-enter Singtel and what's a good recommendation of entry price? So Jaslyn, sorry, I didn't cover it earlier because this is the bonus stock that I like to share with you guys today. So if I cover earlier already, then doesn't make sense to actually share it 2 times. All right. So Jaslyn, I hope you're still here so that you can, have a little bit of insights about, Singtel as well to help you in terms of, your question. Okay. So for Singtel, first thing first, I always look at the trend, right? In terms of the moving averages, definitely Singtel, if we just look at the chart on its own, it's a very beautiful chart, I would say. And this kind of charts, right, are usually the charts that I like to look out for, whereby everything is like going up, right? Prices is going up, moving averages are also going up, short term, long term, all aligning, right? That is a beautiful chart. And sometimes the thing is that sometimes when people see this chart, right, they tend to think like, hey, you know what, the price actually 1 month ago, 1 year ago, it was at what? Maybe at like $3, but now at $4, price so expensive really. What I don't want to get in, right? But actually that's not the case because you see over the past 1 year, price can actually go from $3 to where we are at right now, over 60 over percent. I mean, over a span of about 11 months, right? I mean, of course, it's not as fast as maybe some of the US stocks that you see out there, but it's still pretty decent, right? And it's stable, right? It's stable, slowly, gradually going up, and that's the thing that we always want to look out for when we look out for stocks, or even when you're own self picking your stocks, right? That is the thing that you want to look out for, like in terms of having a stock that is in a good uptrend. Don't pick something that is in a downtrend, because you will never see us, buying something that is going down, right? Consistently going down and averaging down. But rather, we want to buy something that prices have been going up and consistently going up. It's okay to buy at higher prices whenever the opportunity arises, and also whenever we see even more confirmations. All right. So let's dive into Singtel, right, and see what are some of the levels, right, that we can actually take note of, and also to help Justin out, right? What are some of the levels for positioning yourself for entry, especially so when I see that you say you want to re-enter again. So great that perhaps you re-enter, you exited, you take profits already, and now you're thinking about re-entering again. Awesome, right? So let's take a look at this. So for Singtel right now, price is at about $4.75, right? And with that, we can actually, before we even talk about target, we talk about support first, right? And if we look back, right, past couple of months, since August all the way to November, prices have kind of just been, going sideways lah. Going sideways. And to reiterate, just now I also did mention when price actually hits sideways in a short term, but longer term trend is actually still pointing up, it's actually in fact a very good thing, because it makes the uptrend even more sustainable, and that's what we want to see, right? If prices just keep going up like that, you also a bit scared because price go up so fast, it can also come down very fast, right? So this is actually a good thing, right? And when price consolidate, we can actually very clearly find out where is the support and the resistance, right? So the support level right over here, when it was consolidating sideways, is at this $4, right? $4 will be a psychological level, right? And the resistance back when it was consolidating, it was around this $4.40, right? This level, this is where we see selling pressure returning, right? Right over here. So it was within this like 40 cents range, right? And subsequently, it managed to break out above it, and we get a 1GT bullish signal. This is a new one, a 1GT bullish signal, and price went all the way up already, right? So this 440, right, essentially is what we call a resistance turn to become a support, right? Because now price is actually above this level, right? So in terms of target wise, if I were to zoom all the way back for Singtel, definitely you will not see anything that's higher than the current price because now Singtel definitely is at all-time high. And when price is at all-time high, usually there's 2 ways that we want to gauge our target. Number 1 is based on the price range, right? And number 2 is based on the psychological level, right? And if you were to add, I put the target, right, at a $5 psychological level right over here, because number 1 is psychological, right? And number 2, this is the above the current price that we are at right now, right? Because if you were to ask me, hey, why you never place the 40 cents range? I put the 40 cents range here, right? I project it up. This is where we are at right now, right? This is currently where we are at right now. So the thing is that for those of you who are already holding on to Singtel position, if you want to take some profits right now, there's nothing wrong to actually take profits, right? Because based on the range projection, that is your target, right? Based on your trading plan. But based on what we are seeing right now in terms of the chart, I would say $5 definitely. I would not be surprised if price continue to actually head up, right? And reaches this $5, then we see some selling pressure return. It's totally normal, right? Because $5, like I said, all-time high, and is a psychological level. All right. So in terms of those of you who are thinking about accumulating position, thinking about re-entering like Jaslyn, right, to re-enter again, where would a level be suitable to position yourself for entry? Definitely, I think would be around this zone right over here, right, around the $4.40. This zone right over here for price to potentially retrace back, right, to this support zone for you to actually accumulate some positions, like if you would like, right. And if I were to turn on this thing, what we call a trailing support and resistance, right over here, you can see that the trailing support right now is slightly above the 440, maybe about this 449, 450 level, right? So like I've mentioned, trailing support accounts for stock volatility. When the price move up, it will also move up. But the horizontal resistance, it doesn't mind. It's a static line. It's a line that we draw ourselves. So if you want to talk about a potential support zone, because when we talk about these levels, 440, 449, they are not specific points that you should take note of, because it's always a zone. Buy level is always a zone. Sell level is also always a zone, right? So perhaps one of the zones that you can actually look out for, if you want to account for the stock volatility, perhaps could be around the 450 to about the 460, right? This could be one of the areas that you can actually set some price alert. Okay, why not let me also set a price alert together with you guys now, right? Maybe around this 455, right? Right click, add alert, right? Singtel, price crossing 455 every time, create, right? And that's it, right? So I've already set an alert at this 455. So if prices were to retrace back to the 455 and it holds above, the trailing support level, right? I think that is a not too bad area to potentially accumulate on the dips as well, like especially so when we know that short term, long term, all still looking not too bad, right? And 1GT bullish signal is still playing out. And again, if prices can reach the $5 level, this could be a sell zone that we are looking at to potentially take some profits as well, right? And that, let me see, that could be about a 10% range that we are talking about. Okay, so that would be a very quick one for Singtel. But of course, like I've mentioned, like Bervyn also mentioned, I also mentioned many times, sounds like a broken record already, right? Even when you think about entering, always think about your stop loss plan, right? Your stop loss plan, it could be slightly below, right? Maybe a 2 to 3%, slightly below. Maybe you want below the 440 level. This would be also okay, right? To have your stop loss, to have your downside in check, right? If prices were to reverse, at least, you can get out first, right? You can get out first, monitor again, then look for opportunities again, right? When we have more confirmations. Okay, so that would be for Singtel. Jaslyn, I hope you're still here, and I hope that helps, all right? And this stock definitely will still be in our watch list as well, right? But it's approaching the $5, so I wouldn't be a bit too rushed or kanchong to actually get in, because we don't want to get stuck buying near a resistance zone. Okay, so that would be for Singtel. And yep, I think we have come to the end of the Ask Me Any Stock session today. I hope all of you guys here have gotten some value, like what I think Bervyn have asked you guys earlier on, and see a lot of V. So thank you so much for joining us every single time, right? And we really, really appreciate all of your time being here with us. And I think the next one that we are doing the AMAS live will be on the 28th, right? The 28th one, the next week, we will be going for the US market, right? So if you guys are keen and you guys are free, you guys want to join us again, can come and join us and set some the notifications in your YouTube whenever Joey go live. All right. So yeah, I think with that, Bervyn, do you have anything to add?
Nothing much, but I guess everyone could be going on a holiday already, so safe travels for anybody who's traveling as well. I think a lot of people traveling to Japan. Japan yen very cheap now. Yeah. So just enjoy the weekend, guys. We'll see you guys next week. All right. Bye.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.